Mighty pals, we're here for Tuesday tips and a little bit of marketing musings. Like me asking you, why does content planning or marketing planning feel so hard? Um, this is like at the core of one of those questions I get a lot about. Where do I get started? How can I be more consistent? How can you help me get my marketing focused? For years, I felt the push, pull, the back and forth tug between being super organized, super organized, planning things in advance, and then winging it, wee, and seeing that both of those are unsustainable for me. And part of that could be, me and whatever's going on with the way I'm wired, which we'll get to in a second as well about way you're wired. But let's go back to the thought about planning. And today, how can we finish projects before we even get started? That's an audacious kind of promise, right? So I've bought the courses on content strategy and planning. I've taken them. Some of them have sat, but I've gone through it. I've bought the planners. Heck, I've sold planners. I've done training on planning. You know I love me my Trello, but also some days I don't love it. Oh, let's not tell anybody here about that. So what is this secret that I'm talking about? Why does planning feel hard at times? Why is it that we swing back and forth between plan, and seat of the pants, don't plan at all? And how do we stop that? Because I think there's a sweet spot. There's a middle ground here. And that connection is how to finish a project before we start. Years of experience and reading psychology and experience has taught me that one of the reasons that we stare at our screens and our planners and we keep buying templates and more planners and more licensed content, and then we still stare at things blankly, is that we don't know where we are going. It means we're just getting in our car and driving aimlessly. You might see a lot of sights, and you might also miss the ones that you really wanted to see. Like if we're just aiming and driving in a general direction, I'm just going to get in the car and drive to New Jersey. I'm going to drive to New Hampshire. I'm going to drive to Vermont. And I don't end up in any specific point. So I miss out on like finding the best frozen custard or the best ice cream or finding superior New York or Chicago style pizza. If you want, you can fight in the comments over which one of those is better. I love them both. And what do we end up with? Well, we end up with chain restaurant pizza because we didn't have a goal and we didn't know where we were going and we got hangry. And yes, there are parallels with our content there. I believe that after all of these years that the secret sauce to planning that works is to not over plan and nor under plan and just, seat of the pants it. We have to know our end goal. And like I said, we have to know ourselves. So I got to know me and how my brain has worked and the way my energy flows and my schedule and my own personal goals. And you got to know you. You got to know you, and that's where, you're here with me trying to find your mojo, your mighty marketing mojo. But we want to start with the end goal in mind. And here's where I wish I'd had my props set up for me, because it had me thinking this week about working backwards. That when we know the goal, the destination, and I'm not talking about some far off goal, and it doesn't have to be a big goal, and it doesn't have to be a big vision. Can be, but to get there, you're going to have a lot of little stops. I can't just say, I'm going to drive across country and then start driving. I have a horrible sense of direction. I could easily wind up at the coast in New Jersey instead of the coast in California. Or I could wind up going through Arkansas when I meant to go through St. Louis. Work backwards. And that's what I meant when I was starting to think this week about working backwards. This was something that I really learned about in grad school. And I had a particular mentor. And there was a book. The book was Understanding by Design, the Concept of Backwards by Design by Grant Wiggins and Jay McTeague. If you want, I'll find the book on Amazon and I will link it to it in the comments. And while the book was written in the concept of education, the concepts so stuck with me that I've absolutely applied them for business. And let's face it, if you as a business owner or a course creator, if you do webinars, you do workshops, you do tutorials, you do training, you do any of that, then you are teaching in a respect. And you have a goal in your business. You want people to join your mastermind. You want people in your membership. You want people your services one-on-one. You want people to coach with me. You have a goal that you need to work backwards from. And that was the entire concept of this book. In the book, in Understanding by Design and the concept of backwards by design for education, you start thinking about what do you want a student to know and to be able to do at the end of a lesson. And then you work backwards. Well, what assessments do you need to show you that they know the thing that you want? And then backwards from that, what lessons or activities or training do you need to do to impart that information? And the traditional way of teaching, and I'd argue that a lot of our business and our content creation instead starts from, well, what do we want to teach? I know this thing. You people need to know this thing. So let me start from there. No, I want us to flip it and work backwards. So instead of just teaching content, because we end up teaching in a way and in a manner that's comfortable for us, regardless of whether or not our students are coachees, our coaching participants, the folks we're doing services for, regardless of whether that's the method and the way that would help them to know and to do the thing and to get the result that they want. So in business, what could that mean? Well, it means that we may decide we're not going to do video because we're not comfortable doing video. Well, there are ways we can get more comfortable or ways we can work around that. But hey, even though most of our audience or our ideal clients love videos and they are looking for solutions to watch and not to read. So if we aren't doing video in some capacities, then we're not meeting them where they are. We also may not be thinking from where we want them to go with us at the end and working backwards. So the same way, we also may think that we're going to teach in a multi-modular course, that everything needs to be in this course, and we're going to make this course, and it's going to have all these modules, and we'll go out and we're looking for course management platforms. When in reality, our audience is super busy parents who have time for 5-minute videos and not a multi-modular course. So maybe we need a one-shot workshop. Maybe they need a 5-day challenge. Maybe they need something they could do in 30-minute, 15-minute blocks. Maybe I need to go back and redo some of my evergreen video courses and workshops and make all of those videos shorter. Snip them, 15 minutes. I could re-record them, or I could do what's easy and just slice them. Let's do with what's easy. Hey, morning, Tracy. Glad you're here with me. Look, I don't want you to do things that you hate, because then you won't do them. And we want you to go do them. But I do want you to think about, how are you going to best reach your ideal clients? How do they learn? How do they best get the results that they want? And how does that fit in with the ways that you work? And let's work backwards. Whenever I teach workshops in my other business, to my library, my education, and my nonprofit audience, I always have to spell out simple, clear, concrete lesson objectives. They're in education. They expect that. They expect me to basically work backwards from design. What will my participants know, understand, or be able to do at the end of a session? Now, I may not always be 100% successful in getting them there, but I think backwards from that point and think, okay, what content am I going to deliver? And more importantly, what do I not do? Like, I don't try to fire hose them with too much information. We have to maybe break it up. I think one of the most successful instances of that is that I took a whole bunch of stuff on content marketing, and we broke it up into 6. It was 6 modules over like 3 months, and we got to dive a little bit into each one. They built on together, but each one was also standalone. So it does mean planning. It means that we're going to have a little bit of a planning first approach. And I need to do that all, in all sides of my work. I am always reminding myself in Mighty Marketing Mojo, in the coaching, in the workbooks, in the courses, to work backwards. And in some respects, this is also the key of marketing. I don't like talking funnels, but if you want people to ultimately, the right people for you, ultimately to end up working with you one-on-one in one-on-one services, you want them to end up in a membership. You want them to subscribe to something. You want them in a higher ticket, whatever. And high ticket can completely depend on you and your audience. Then work backwards. What do they need to know about you? What do they need to see in terms of results? What other interactions do they need to have had with you before they're like, yes, hell yes, I am joining Val and Tracy and Pam and Melissa, and I am joining that because I see it, I get it. So you work backwards. So think about your current business projects. What's the goal? If you know the goal, then you are now in a position to finish before you even start that project. You're working on an email lead magnet. You're working on a blog post. Could be a webinar or a masterclass. Could be a course. What's the goal? Plan first, then go backwards. What entrance steps do you need to know so that everybody's on the right path? What resources do you need to create the thing that you're planning? What else do you need to know before you do the thing? Hint, you probably do not need to take another course. You don't need another thing, and you probably don't need any additional resources. You can go do that thing. Don't forget to plan for rewards for when you reach those milestones, and your students and participants do so too. Hey, drop comments in here and let me know how you reward yourself for when you get to your milestones along your projects. But if you know where you're driving and you know where you want a particular ideal client to end up with you, then you can work backwards and figure out, oh, well, chances are they're not going to just jump right into high ticket coaching with me or their one-on-one services unless it's a really specific pain point, or they're not going to necessarily jump into a $97 a month membership right away. $15 a month membership? Yeah, maybe they might test that out. But maybe they need something before that. Maybe they need to have some videos. Maybe they need a workbook. Maybe they need a one-on-one, or not a one-on-one, like a group. They need a group thing before they do one-on-one things. It's the entire point of why you have those multiple points of contact with you. It's why you nurture them through emails. It's why we have those, hey, yes, that's an easy yes offer. I'll take that because I want to do that workshop and it was low cost. And yep, absolutely. So if your ideal end goal is that you're enrolling somebody one-on-one or a group program, well, how do we know if that person is going to be a good fit? How do we know that they're going to see benefiting from our program? They need to get to know us. They need to get to trust us. They need to see us in action. They need to see some results and some wins from something shorter, less intense, and quite possibly less money first. Okay, working further backwards from that. What are the possible paths that we could take to get our person there? Well, maybe they do a 5-day live challenge where there's short videos and emails from us. They start to see short wins. They see us in action. They see teaching. They get why being with us more would bring more results. Or maybe you want to do a masterclass or a short workshop. I've done a lot of those. Again, they see us in action. They get a result. They get a win. More likely that they then take us up on additional offers, or that they decide, you know what, no, I'm good. I'm a DIY person, not a I need more coaching person. Great if you self-identify that way. Cool. Maybe they're like, you know what, I'll just go through the workbook by myself. Okay. Personally, I don't think that's going to be enough interaction, and you may not get the results you want, but if you're good on your own, cool. Here's the other option that I have for you. Here's a workbook plus 3 short videos. Or the workbook is free and the videos are the easy yes one-time offer. Or maybe the workbook leads to a short workshop or a discovery call. There are lots of ways to get there when you know where there is. And the reason I'm talking about this in regards to content planning is I could show you my Google Calendar. I could show you my Google Excel sheet. I've got them up right now. I may pop over and show them. But the point is, I'm still going to sit here and I'm going to stare at my computer screen and I'm going to wonder. Well, it says that I was posting today in my Facebook group to post a Facebook engaging post. And it says that on Thursday, I should have a post to Facebook and I should share some resources. And, I've got the color-coded Google Sheet, and it tells me roughly what types of content to post and when. But I still got to come up with the specific stuff. And I got templates, but I got to come up with the specific words to go in the templates, which becomes possible when I know my goal. And if the goal is a content repurposing workshop in May, because yes, there is one, and where we're going to talk about how to use PLR, we're going to talk about repurposing blog posts into videos and videos into blog posts and emails into all of those things. Easy peasy like, so you can look like you're everywhere and you're not. Or if the other thing I want is for folks to join me in Tech Therapy Hangout, my brand new super secret membership, super secret, because I'm only sort of starting to promote it. But if I want you to do that, then what are the steps I would want you to take to get to know me first? Oh, like watch one of these videos or read my emails. Or maybe you want to attend the content repurposing workshop in May. And then you might be a good candidate to potentially join the membership. When I know that that's what I'm promoting, what I'm focusing on, what my energy is on, what my message is, then I can finish my project before I've even started because I know my end goal, which then means I'm not sitting staring at a blank screen wondering what steps go next. What do I actually write in the Facebook post? And it also means that I don't tend to, I don't go off and just share quote memes or share silly videos. There's a place and a time for that. But if you want people to actually join you in a program and pay you for things, well, then you're going to have to tell them why and what's the benefit of it. And here's what other people have done. And here's how to answer the questions and all of those good things. And when you know what course, what workshop, what membership, what thing, what services you want somebody to do or take or join you with at the end, then the pieces of the project line up. And it tells me that, oh, well, they're going to need to see me in action and they're going to need to get some tips from me and they're going to need to see a win. So it's going to be a workshop or it's a video, it's training. And before that, they're going to need to see something, an even easier win. So it's going to be something like a checklist or a workbook. And hey, here's some emails that go in between. When I know that, I've worked backwards, which means that I am now in a position for success for my projects, for my content, for my marketing, for my business right from the get-go. It's also the entire reason why I created things like the Tech Therapy Hangout membership. Because if you want to brainstorm stuff like this and you're like, oh, I think I'm missing a step between A and F, then we can work that out. You're like, okay, I've got the page, I've got the workbook. How do we connect it? Let's brainstorm this. Let's tweak your sales pages. Let's change up your freebies. Let's hook up the welcome emails. Let's hook up the welcome and nurture emails that specifically get somebody to that thing you want them to do. I was actually in somebody else's. Hey, Val, I was in somebody else's membership this morning, giving some impromptu training. And one of the things we did is we reworked somebody's presentation. We're like, hey, awesome topic, awesome stuff. What do you want them to do at the end of this talk? What's the service you want them to know you for? And is the content of your presentation leading to that? And how do we narrow it down so they can walk out of your presentation going, that was awesome. I'm going to go work on this one thing you taught me about today. And I'm also going to get in touch with you because I see how you can help me with all those other things I need to do with podcasting and content planning. Awesome. So that's one of the reasons why I created the safe space of the Tech Therapy Hangout, so we can work on things like that together. It's why I created other workshops to help you get results, whether it's creating your easy email gift, doing your landing pages, or the content repurposing mojo workshop that's coming at the beginning of May. So me telling you about those things and me knowing that that's my focus means, all right, now I can get back to business. I can sit down with Google. I can sit down with Google Calendar, Post-it notes, Trello, whatever, and go, okay, what content leads up to that? What do I need to be sharing or telling you about in my marketing, in my content, in my business that helps make it easy for you to say, I need this and this, but maybe not that other thing. How does it fit for your business? Drop me your comments. Let me know what you're thinking, what you're working on. What's your end goal? Where do you want people to be with you in your business? It could be short-term. It could be long-term. And when I say long-term, folks, these days I'm not thinking much more than 90 days in advance. And if we're really honest, I'm thinking at the end of this month. I'm like, I'm sitting here trying to plan. What do I want to do in June? I want to hang out by the pool in June. So, okay, that's my end goal. What do I need to do in my business so that I'm hanging out by the pool every weekend, not working on my content and my emails? That's a viable goal too. So I want you to think about working backwards from your goal, a stated, clear, specific goal. X many people in a workshop, X many people in my membership, having a discovery call that leads to a one-on-one client, signing a client project, X many subscriptions. What do you have to do in the steps before that to get people there? Work it backwards. If you work it backwards and you're working smarter, not harder, you're going to find your mojo because everything's going to fit a little bit easier and you're not thinking so far in advance. You're not going to be staring at the blank screen. Because you don't know where you're going. Know where you're going, have a destination so you don't miss out on the best ice cream, pizza, or best clients because you didn't know where you were headed. We do that, our folks get what they need from us. Your business flourishes and everything feels a little bit easier. That's your mojo. All right, folks, have a great and mighty week.